Hi everyone, this is Suzanne Wagner, and I'm doing a little bit of a spontaneous blog today because yesterday I went to San Francisco Airport in order to do my interview for my global entry certificate thing when you're flying and you change countries and all that kind of stuff. So my global entry pattern, and I already have the TSA pattern. So I live about 4 hours north of San Francisco in the boondocks. And so getting to San Francisco, driving 4 hours, doing an interview, and then driving back for 4 hours is a lot. So what I decided to do was drive to Santa Rosa Airport and actually get a shuttle that goes to San Francisco Airport. And it was worth the cost because between the hassle of the parking and dealing with the traffic, and when you're on a bus, you can be in the carpool lane, and so it goes really faster. And even if the traffic bogs down, and the traffic can bog down for any number of reasons in San Francisco. So I scheduled it for 12:30, and when I looked at my paperwork the day before, I realized, I probably need a validation. They want an utility bill or something that validates your address because all of my mail goes to a PO box, and so my physical address, is. Regular mail doesn't come out here. So, I mean, UPS comes out here and FedEx comes out here, but we're literally the last stop that they actually do, if you can believe it. Thank God we're the last stop. But anyway, so as a result, I, thought, okay, I better call the propane company and have them send me a bill that has the exact address on it and with my name on it and all this. And I was smart enough to kind of put that together because, it didn't say I needed it if I had a driver's license and a passport, but I realized that my driver's license has my PO box on it and it doesn't have my actual physical address. And so I thought, well, that could be a little stickler. And so let's go ahead and cover that base. So needless to say, that's what I did. I wake up at 4 a.m, get dressed, feed the cats and the birds, head out the door, get the shuttle into the city. Have to make sure that I get there a little bit early, just like an hour plus early, just because the other shuttle was just a little too close to the time that I was supposed to be there. And I thought if there's, traffic or a delay or a car accident on the bridge or whatever, then I would be late. And I thought, oh, I don't want to be late for this, right? So anyway, I get there. I'm early and I go up and there's this big sign on the door that says, do not knock, interviews in progress. We will come out and get your name. So I just sat there. And within a short period of time, somebody comes out and they say, what's your name? And I said, Suzanne Wagner. And they said, when's your appointment? And I said, it's at 12:30. I said, I'm early. I'm an hour early. I came from Humboldt County, and they said, well, we might be able to get you in early because this is before the lunch rush. So just a second, and maybe we can call you in early. And by the way, your appointment was actually at 12:50, not 12:30. And I thought, okay. And I pulled up my paperwork again, and it does say 12:30, not 12:50. But it's like you're not going to argue with the government when they're doing these things, right? It's just like a bad idea. So I wait literally 1 minute. He comes back out and says, yeah, no, we can totally take you right now. And I was like, great, that's fantastic. So I go in and, again, I'm an intuitive, and yes, I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Yes, I was driving to Santa Rosa and in traffic, and yes, we were driving on the bus into San Francisco. Yes, it's crazy in San Francisco Airport, but it's not like this is something I don't deal with. I go in and out of San Francisco Airport a lot, or the Santa Rosa Airport a lot. So it's like I'm thinking, I walk in, the energy in this place was horrible. The only thing I can say is horrible. Tense, dangerous, toxic. The people behind these bulletproof counters were clearly unbelievably on edge. So I go in, there's 5 booths, and I'm there with one other person. So it's not busy, it's not busy. So there's not this need for the tension in the space. They say have all your documents ready. I did, but I have this broken finger, as you can tell, so it's all wrapped up. So they want your fingerprints, so you have to lay your whole fingers, this part of your fingers down, and they want like your whole hand, the fingerprint, not your whole hand, but all your fingers. And I said, oh, just a second, because I broke my finger and I have to unwrap my finger. Instantly, this guy went on high alert. Like, it was like inside here was a gun or something that was going to shoot him, or was going to shoot poison, or was going to shoot a dart underneath his little, because there's this little tiny space to put the papers, and basically they're behind both bulletproof glass. And the level of alarm that this guy had, I'm a woman, I'm like, I'm not dangerous. They can already tell by my global entry that I've not been arrested. I don't have a DUI. I'm not like, a drug addict. I'm not, I had no calls on me. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it was just so weird that he was like, I have to see your hand. And so I showed him my hand, and you have to unwrap it. And I started unwrapping it very carefully. And he was just on high alert. And I said I broke it like 8 weeks ago, and it's almost all the way healed. But, I obviously can't get my fingerprint on this, right, until I get this off. So I took it off. He's in alarm. Then he wants my address validation thing that I pulled up, the propane thing. But, the way he's coming at it is so aggressive. And it was really hard to hear him because he's behind this bulletproof glass. And, you just have this little thing. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what did you say? And he was like, you have to read this paper. And I was like, yes, sir. And so then I had to go grab my glasses, my eyeglasses to read. And he got into alarm because I was going into my purse. And it was so bizarre. It was, I have traveled all over the world. I have been in Israel when there was the conflict still with Egypt. I have gone through customs in every single country, and I have never felt so threatened in my whole entire life psychically. It was like, maybe on the surface everything is fine, but the voice is gruff. Everything I'm doing is suspicious. Reaching down to get my glasses is suspicious. How girls' purses are, there's too much stuff in there, and so we have to dig stuff out. And he was really stressed. This guy was super stressed, and I'm like, if this guy is this stressed, every person is here is stressed, which is why I walked in. It was like the air, you could suck the air out of the room. And I thought, what the fuck is going on in here? And so, I gave him everything, he gave me the approval, and, then said, you can go. Like this. And I was, by that point I had papers all over the place, and I had to get the papers together and everything. And I got out of there, and I literally was shaking. Okay. I don't shake. Just so you guys know, like, I was in Suriname with a military takeover with guns pointed at my head, and I didn't shake. Something was really off, is the only way I can say it. And the only thing I could think of is that these guys feel so threatened at this point because of what's going on in the government, or the rules or the regulations, or the fact that maybe they have been threatened. Maybe, they've had bad things happen to them there, that they're so overly cautious. I literally felt like I was dealing with a person who was full military, questioning everything I was, and he asked me point blank, have you ever been arrested? Have you ever had a DUI? And I'm like, no, sir, no, sir. I'm like, look at me. Like I'm a cupcake, compared to a lot of people, and it was weird. It was so weird. So I literally got out of there. Because of the timing of things, I missed the shuttle going back, so I had to wait an hour. And I literally called my husband, and I was just like, that was so bizarre. That was so incredibly bizarre. And, the paper that I had to read the whole thing in front of him while I was there. It was good to read because I found out that, my passport will come due in 2027. And even though my global entry lasts for 5 years, that I have to resubmit and I'll have to go back, if you can believe this, and with my new passport, with my new picture and everything. And I thought, oh my God. So anyway, I'm hoping it's just a symptom of the times. I'm sure there are people out there that work for Social Security or the IRS and that they're dealing with a lot of crazy people, very stressed out people, very upset people, very angry people, lashing out at them, which of course was never my intention in any way, shape, and form. But the fact that they were on such high alert and they were so aggressive, intense. I mean, it literally, I was shaking for 5 minutes. I mean, I had to sit outside for 5 minutes and talk to my husband on the phone just to calm down. And I thought, that is so weird. This is not the way it should be. It should be like, hi, how are you? We've already done your legal check. We already know you're not a criminal. We already know you're not arrested, haven't been arrested. We already know that you're just a normal person, with no points against you in any way, shape, and form. But that was not what it was. It was that, because I was even there, I was suspect in some way. And I'm just saying I didn't like the feeling. It was really odd. It was really odd. Maybe I just caught this guy on an off day, but it was really from the time I walked in the door. It was from the time I walked in the door, and I hadn't even gotten to the guy yet. So, anyway, I just thought I would let everybody know so that if you're a normal person and don't have arrest warrants that you've had or whatever, you might want to get your global entry now, and just kind of be prepared that you have to validate, all these things, and, you have to answer all these questions, and your paperwork better be in order for sure. And make sure your reading glasses are out and you're not digging in your purse for some reason, and you don't have a broken finger, because you're going to have your fingerprints on all your hands taken, all hands. And I mean, all the way down, all the way down. So I thought that was new and different. Okay. That's my rant for today. Bye.